Functions are pieces of code that are reusable. When we use or call a function, then it reruns that piece of code. I'm going to visually represent functions using these boxes. Functions take some input or arguments before doing some work and spitting out an output or return value. Functions can take in any number of arguments here, including 0, but there's always exactly one return value. So let's suppose that we have a function called square that takes in one argument and returns the value of that argument squared. That means that somewhere, square is a variable that points to a function object. So if we print out square using this expression, then it would print out something showing that square itself is a function. But usually when we want to use functions, we want to call them rather than using the function object itself. And this is how we would call the square function with the argument 4. We have an expression whose value is a function, so in this case it's just the name of the function, which is square. And we add parentheses immediately after that expression, pass in the arguments, and then close parentheses. And what this is saying is that we're feeding in 4 into our function, and our square function is going to take in 4 and compute the output or return value, and in the case of square it's going to return 4 squared, or 16. And what that means is the value of this overall expression, square of 4, is 16, or whatever got spit out by the function when we called it. Functions can take in any number of arguments including 0, and it's important to note that Python computes the values of these arguments before calling the function. So here I'm calling funcName with 0 arguments. Here I'm calling funcName with 1 argument, and that argument is 1. Here I'm calling funcName with 3 arguments. The first argument is 1, the second argument is 2 plus 4, or 6, and the third argument is 10. One important function that's discussed in the next video is the print function, which logs output to the console. So functions are pieces of reusable code that we can call. They take in any number of arguments, but always have exactly one return value. When we call a function, then that's like running that piece of reusable code, and the value of that function call is the return value, or whatever gets spit out by the function after it runs.